Hi everyone, we're back with another project in our 2018 paper pack challenge, and we're going to be making some small boxes today. I've already made a few. I really wanted to start using some of those greetings that came in the sheet that I had cut apart, so that's kind of where these projects came from. But then also the tool that I'm going to use to make these projects I absolutely love, and it's so versatile. You can do so many things with it. So we're going to move on. I made these two, and I'm going to explain sizes here very shortly. But what you're going to need for this project is a piece of 8.5 by 8.5 pattern paper, cardstock, whatever you want to use for your box. This is my greeting, so you can use whatever you want for your greeting. This happens to be 3 inches by 2 inches, although once you get the box assembled you can design it however you want. We're going to put a bow on the box like this one here, and so to do that we're going to use a piece of glitter paper that is 1 inch by 12 inches. We need another piece that's 1 inch by 3.5 inches, and then this piece here is 3/8 of an inch wide and 12 inches long. Alright, oh I'm sorry, we need another small little piece. This tiny piece here, which you do need, I can't pick it up, it is 1/4 of an inch wide and 1 inch long. So just a little piece like that. That's the middle of our bow that we're going to assemble here very soon. Alright, so the tool we're going to use today is the envelope punch board, and I absolutely love this thing. When you are making something with the envelope punch board, it has to be a square piece of paper. It doesn't matter what you're making, whether you're making a square envelope, a rectangular envelope, a box, whatever. It has to be a square piece of paper. So for this box, what we're going to do is, there are measurements here at the top. We're going to start and go to the 2.5 inch mark. We're just going to line our paper up on the side there. You punch down on this little bubble thing, and then there's a scoring line here. You just score like that. Now, because I don't want to, I am going to go off the scoreboard slightly, see, like that, and I don't want to punch a hole in my paper. So once you get close to the edge of the envelope punch board, go ahead and stop, because we'll be able to match all those lines up in just a minute, and that won't be any big deal. I'm going to check this. It feels like something is, I think something was stuck in my envelope punch board. I just punched some glitter paper to make bows, and I think some of that was stuck in there. Alright, so let's get back to this. Okay, so I punched it 2.5, punched and scored. I'm going to slide my paper down to the 5 inch mark, and I'm going to punch again, and I'm going to score. Now I'm going to turn the paper twice, so once, twice, and I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to line it up, score at 2.5, line it up at 5, punch, and score. Now, all we're going to do is match up the score lines and finish our box. So right now we're not going to worry about measurements, we're just matching up our score lines, and we're matching it to the little point on our punching part of our device. So we'll match all these score lines up with what we've done. Let's see, that one's already done, so we'll turn this. My lighting for some reason today is not good. I don't know if it's the natural light coming in or the way I have my lamps overhead, but my lighting is just not not very good at the moment. Alright, and get these little pieces out of the way. When you punch, when you make those punches, your little leftover pieces come out the back. On the back of the envelope punch board, if you slide your paper in this way, it's a corner rounder. So whether you're making, you know, projects with the envelope punch board or not, it's kind of a nice thing to have at your fingertips to round some corners. Alright, so that's all we need to do with that. Now we will just go and reinforce these score lines. These boxes go together so quickly. This is something that you could, if you had gifts you wanted to, or boxes you wanted to make ahead of time, you can actually make these ahead of time and leave them flat, and then assemble them whenever you have a gift you need to package up. So right now we have all of our score lines made. What we're going to do is, for this particular box that I'm wanting to do, I'm going to cut, we have a long side and then a short side. I'm going to make my cuts on the long side, and I'm just going from the outside into that middle score line. Okay. So then what we want to do is we only want to put adhesive on 2 of these flaps because the other one is going to be part of our lid that folds in, and we don't want to adhere that and make it sticky. So what I'm going to do is just put a decent amount of adhesive on 2 of these flaps. Then we're going to fold them in on the long side because that's how I'm going to put my greeting and so forth. It's going to be the long side's going to be horizontal. And then we can tuck in these guys. Now, I don't put adhesive on my flaps until I start assembling things because sometimes I don't know exactly what or how I want to assemble it. So like right now, I know that these small flaps are going to go on the inside. So it's not that hard to just kind of turn the flaps inside out and figure out how you want to do that. You could do it while it's flat and put adhesive on, but this way, I'm a very kind of assemble as you go along kind of crafter. So we'll match those up, and then our lid is going to fold in just like this. And then there's your box. Okay, so let's work on the outside of this. I'm going to put the sentiment down here. We'll go ahead and get that on. I could put it on with foam dots or something and pop it up, but since we're going to have a bow at the top, I'm not going to pop the sentiment up. I'm going to line this. I'm going to center it, but I'm going to put it down towards the bottom quite a bit because of what I'm going to do at the top. All right, so that's cute. Now, especially since our boxes are made out of paper, it's not thick cardstock, they're not the most rigid, and until you get something in there, you know, it's a little bit flimsy, but it still will hold, you know, a good amount of things and a decent weight. But you have to have some way to keep it closed and some way to kind of keep it all together. You can do one of 2 things. This one here, I took ribbon and I went around like this and then tied it up here. So kind of at the top, it's held together like that. This one, I went around front and back and kept it with like a belly band and put the bow on there. And then you can slide this on and off versus this one where when you untie the bow, it allows the flap to open up, all right? On this one, what we're going to do is the same thing I did on here. So this little piece, which is the 3/8 inch piece, it's gonna go around, and it's not quite long enough. See, when I made this one, the 12-inch piece for the, I'm gonna say the belly band or the trim piece, it was long enough, but on this one it's not, which is no big deal. So what we're gonna do is, I'm just gonna grab my glitter paper, which I have some little scraps over here, and I'm just gonna cut me a little piece at 3/8 of an inch, which will match up with what I have. And that didn't exactly cut straight. It wasn't, so let me just trim this a little bit. Okay. Basically what I'm doing is making a little piece so that I can splice these 2 ends together. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to make the bow to put on here. And how I do that is, on this one here, I made it, but if you can see, it's glitter paper, so on one side it's white and on the other side it's glitter. And I wanted, on this box, I wanted the inside and the outside to both be glittery. Now, when you're making this bow, you need a piece of paper that is 1 inch by 6 inches. But because I want glitter on both sides, I cut it at 12 inches, and I'm just doubling it over so that there's glitter on both sides of the bow. And then all I'm going to do is just stick some adhesive on here just to keep everything together. If you have double-sided paper, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do it at all, but like I said, I wanted glitter on the inside and the outside. Okay, so at this point you have your 6-inch piece of paper, and we're going to line it up with the 3-inch mark. We're going to punch. We're going to flip it over. We're going to line it up with the 3-inch mark again. We're going to punch, and that's the middle of your bow. Now to get the ends done, what we have to do is, on this punch, we want to line our strip up with the far left side of the opening right here. So that we're just cutting off the edge of the paper on the end. Alright, we're going to do it to the other side. So we're just lining it up to the left-hand side of that opening, and we are trimming off that. Perfect. So there's one piece of your bow. Now we're going to take this piece, which is the 3.5 by 1 inch piece. We're going to stick it in this way, and we're going to center it up. Center it up with that hole right there. So I'm going to put the center of my paper, center it up with that hole, and I'm going to punch, and it gives us a little flag end. Isn't that cool? I love it. We'll do it to both sides so you get little flags on either side. Now this piece here, like I said, was 3.5, so we do have to notch out the middle for the bow. So let's go back up here and we'll line it up with 1 3/4, and we'll punch. Spin it around, flip it around, 1 3/4 again, and punch. So this is the backing of your bow. All right. What I do is I take my little tool here that I use for the scoring on the punch board. I take the flat side and I just give my bow a little bit of a curl. This is what you want to do to the inside of the bow. So if I hadn't had put glitter on both sides, then the white side would be my inside of my bow, and I would be doing this to the inside of my bow. All right, let's get everything put together. I am going to use this kind of adhesive for the bow because we're dealing with glitter paper, and now it's pretty thick because I've doubled it over. Just to make sure everything sticks together, I'm going to use this adhesive. I am a big fan of dry adhesives. I don't use glue that often. If I do use glue, it's usually hot glue just because it's instant and I don't have to wait for it to dry and things slide around. So now simply all we're going to do is on the inside you put a strip of adhesive, glue, whatever you're going to use, and we're going to match up the edge of our end with the middle of our bow. And it just folds in and sticks like that. We're going to do it to the other side. We'll bring it in, we'll match it up to the middle and give it a good press so that everything sticks together. And then there's your bow. Alright, now we have to attach the bow to the backing so that it looks like this. Once again, I'm going to use some of this adhesive. Stick some on there. Get it nice and stuck to the glitter paper. Peel off our backing maybe. And then with the side that we put together, which looks more unfinished, we're going to stick it to the backing that we just put adhesive on. And then there is our bow. Now to attach, if you were just going to make a bow and then you wanted to put it on something, at this point you take your little bitty piece, your 1/4 inch by 1 inch piece, you stick adhesive on it, stick it in the middle and wrap it around, and that's the middle of your bow. And we are going to do that. But in addition to doing that, we are going to attach it to this little piece here so that it stays put. So I'm just going to stick some adhesive on this little bitty piece. And this could stand to be a little bit longer maybe. You could even make this piece 1.5 inches. But I already had an inch strip cut and I wanted to use what I already had ready. So we'll just center this little piece up here in the middle of our bow, and then what we'll do is I'm going to take this band off. We're going to center it up in the front of that band, and I'm going to wrap this little piece of paper around the bow so that it sticks to that band. And now the bow has a middle to it, but it's also stuck to this band. Then we can slide the band back on here. We really can. Just put it over the top, slide it on, and now you have a cute little bow with a greeting, and then this can, come on. You can open and close the top of this. All right, okay, so the only difference, let me go to this real fast. If you can see, these boxes are different sizes, obviously. I use the same size piece of paper with these boxes. The only difference is I scored at different places. So let me tell you what I have done, because I'm not gonna make a video on all 3 of these different boxes. I used an 8.5 by 8.5 size of a piece of paper. And on this one, I scored at 3.5 inches and then at 5 inches. All right, and this is more of a flat box. This one here, I scored at 3 inches and 5 inches. All right, and so there's that one here. Let me just give you the measurements in case you're interested in that. So this box ends up being 4.5 by like 4.25, and it is about 1 inch thick. Okay, so this is scoring at 3.5 and 5. This box here is 3.5 by 4.5 by 1.25, and this one was scored at the 3-inch mark and the 5-inch mark. The box we made today, we scored it 2.5 and 5, and this box is about 4.25 by 3 inches by 1.25 deep. Okay, so the only difference is your scoring lines and then how you want to put everything together, but they go together so quickly. They're so cute, and that is the project for today, you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.